Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Bowhunter Chronicles podcast brought to you by Tactacam. Tactacam is by far the easiest way to begin filming your hunts. Whether it's the budget-friendly solo or the 4K 5.0, Tactacam has something for everyone. Check them out at tactacam.com. This year we're also working with Spartan Forge. Spartan Forge stands at the nexus of machine learning and whitetail deer hunting to deliver a truly intuitive and science-based product that saves the hunter time spent scouting, planning, and executing their hunts. Basically what this is quickly being built into an app right now. It's available online, but it is machine learning. It's artificial intelligence for the deer woods. So basically it takes data from car deer collisions, insurance information, social media, trail cams, collared deer studies, puts it all together, and the computer actually learns these patterns of deer, how they move in different conditions, and then translates that to you for your area, zip code, etc. So deer move differently in the Northeast than they do in the South than they do in the Midwest. And instead of just saying, well, this is kind of what happens, and they're using studies that show fetus growth for peak rut times and all of that for each individual area for peak rut activity. They have a crazy field staff with guys like Andy May, Greg Litzinger, Taylor Chamberlain, Garrett Prawl, Parker McDonald, and the list goes on. I mean, just some great killers out there verifying and validating this technology. And it's between 60 to 70% accurate. And what that means is if it tells you you should be in the woods on this day, in this area, in a feeding area, bedding area, transition area, it's accurate to that point. And if it says that it's not going to be a good day, then that is also true. And the thing just keeps learning and learning and learning. So if you want to check that out, you can check them out at spartanforge.ai. You can use code BOWHUNTER to save 25%. And as this gets bigger and bigger, there's more and more data points, and more data points equals more storage equals more cost. But when you sign up, you're locked in at that rate until you stop using the service. So the sooner you get in, and the price is quickly going to go up as soon as this app goes live and all of that. You will be grandfathered in, and it's super cheap. It really is. So check them out at spartanforge.ai and use code BOWHUNTER. Real quick, I just wanted to say congratulations to our first quarter winners for our Patreon. And those winners were Eric Redder. He won the Tactacam 5.0 Reaper. So Eric, don't forget to when you shoot those deer and turkeys with this Tactacam, to contact Tactacam, and Rudy's the guy that you want to look for, and he said that they will edit up your footage for you and post it on their social media. Tim Clark, of all people, the tethered guy, won the Latitude saddle package. It does come with tethered ropes, which he already has, and a set of sticks, as well as one of the Artisan Outdoor fabrication top stick platforms that I really like. Jerry Casperson won the Base Map package. So that's the Base Map Pro 1 year subscription with a shirt and hat swag pack. And like Base Map, the value that you get for Base Map for $30 for the entire year for the entire country, and the amount of layers that they have, and at that price point, it's just impossible to beat. You can use code Chronicles and save 20% if you go on there, so it makes it $2 per month for the entire year. I mean, that's an incredible value compared to what's out there. And they even have a free version, and each week they have giveaways that actually teach you how to use their software. So you go on there, you go online, they give you some clues and they give you some markers, and you try and mark off where you think it's going to be, and basically closest to the pin wins. And you don't have to pay for it, so you can actually go on there with one of their free memberships, check it out, and win things. So that's a great option for you guys. So check them out at basemap.com. Spartan Forge, we just got done talking to that. One of their 1-year subscriptions and swag pack went to Ryan Regan. And then Zinger Fletchings, Brian Barnes. And their new fletchings are amazing. So they're a compression fit fletching. Don't call it a fob. They hate that. It's actually fletching. The first generation ones were hard, maybe a little bit noisy. The newer ones are made of a completely different material, completely flexible, not stiff, and they change the shape of them so they're actually a little bit more, a little bit quieter. So congratulations to all those winners, and that's for Patreon. So Patreon is just a crowdfunding for creators, and these guys all support the show. And by supporting the show, that allows us to try new gear, covers our hosting fees. If we're going to hunt out of state, it helps with the travel. I mean, it keeps our wives off our back, whatever, however you want to look at it. But I mean, it's like 17 cents a day. So 17 cents a day gets you in. You can win, some incredible gear. This quarter, what we've got given away is a Tactacam fisheye package. So the fisheye packages are Wi-Fi enabled, 1080p, fully submersible cameras. They have a loop mode. They're designed to go like on the ends of your boat. So you can just click it, let it run. When you catch the fish, you click it off, and then you've saved however much you have set it for. But they have loop mode, so it's going to be a Tactacam fisheye package. But we, as the Bowhunter Chronicles podcast, we purchased, and we're just waiting. So hopefully we'll get it by June, by the end of this quarter, but one of the Beast stands. So we're going to be giving away one of the Beast stands. We wanted to have one as soon as we could, to give you guys and have you have a chance to win that. Same thing, another base map package, another Spartan Forge package, Zinger Fletchings, all of that. So we're giving those away. That's what we are giving away for this quarter. So you want to check that out, you can go to patreon.com/Bowhunter Chronicles, or you can just go to the Bowhunter Chronicles podcast and click on the Patreon link. And we are also giving away a bow. So you don't have to be a Patreon to win this bow. We're giving away a Bowtech Carbon Zion. Not that many people signed up. We're giving that away in June. So there's a few more months to sign up for that. But Mitch at Johnson's Great Outdoors helped us out with that, but we're coming completely out of pocket for that with the HHA Tetra Sight and HHA Rest, and we're going to get some stabilizers on there, but we've got that bow, and John's going to be getting it all set up and timed and everything all ready for you. All you got to do is just go to bowhunterchroniclespodcast.com and sign up for the giveaway. That's all you have to do, just to say thank you. This podcast is, the Patreons and the audience has spoken. They said they wanted more Uncle Frank, so we brought Uncle Frank back. We're just talking a little bit about what we've got planned for his turkey season, the rest of the season this year, as far as going back out west and who's doing what, and then just a little recap of, just kind of like a BS session. But this one's for you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support. Tell someone about the show. Thank you. All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Bowhunter Chronicles podcast. Adam, Frank, Ernie, and we're hoping to hear some words from John. I pissed him off because I told him, nope, you need to not be talking right now. He's going to use up all his words ahead of time. But we're just kind of going through like an actual plan for our turkey season. We just got done with the teach and train and all of the logistics and everything with that. I guess John, what did you think of the event? Because we went into it from the outset saying, all right, we're gonna go. We're gonna do this thing at the club. How did it go? I guess like start to finish, and then like what was it like expectations versus like reality?
Did you guys hear someone talking to me?
Fucking guy.
I don't know. It's possible.
No, I thought
turd in your pocket or what?
Well, I was like super happy. I mean, the turnout was great, and when I seen like Eric Redder show up from freaking New York, like holy shit! I mean, what an awesome Eric and his buddy. So
Justin, he's also Patreon. So
yes, Justin.
There was a good Patreon turnout there.
So thanks for all you guys that showed up from the Patreon, from our group, but especially Eric and Justin coming all the way 6-hour drive
to Midland,
and then another 2.5-hour drive over here. So awesome to see those guys. I mean, at first I was like, I recognized them, but I was like, well, wait a minute, those guys, like Eric's in New York, and then he was like, yeah, all the way from Buffalo. Like, no shit, it is. So, but no, it was a great turnout. I mean, we lucked out. The weather held off. It was supposed to be like rainy all day, but it didn't start raining until like 5 o'clock, which is everyone was pretty much packed up. But thank Tim for putting it on.
Yeah, and like I had been to one before, so I kind of knew. It's not a real like structured event. Like at 1 o'clock, every hour on the hour we're gonna have one sticking in a thing, and so I think what was cool. I mean, for anybody that doesn't know about like the 3D printed stuff, that Genesis 3D printing. Well, he happens to be right here in right in the Muskegon area, so. Austin came out with every stick known to man. And, I mean, so if you showed up to this event and you were like, well, I was thinking about these sticks or I was thinking about this, I mean, it was, for the people that showed up, I got to see.
Oh, yeah, a ton of stuff, especially you had all the saddles that we have.
Adam had a lot of equipment there. He had, just saying.
But I didn't even, you know what? After all that, I didn't even get to see the one stick demo because I was over getting the food ready. So
I watched him go 2 of them. I watched both those guys do that. That was pretty cool.
Ernie?
Well, I don't yet hunt out of a saddle. It looks like I'm going to. There's a lot of things I've seen that I liked, but yeah, that's.
Well, I mean, that's a great perspective, right? Because you were kind of planning on this year. I mean, last year you were like, okay, maybe we'll do this, and then this year you keep like moving more and more towards it. So for a person that had never, I mean, you get to see all the stuff that I have, and you maybe have seen me climb a tree or come down, but to see, multiple ways of up and down and all the different things. I mean, as far as like if someone's listening and there's an event like in their area that doesn't have, anybody that has a saddle or a lot of saddles or anything, what would you say about the event? Like, did you find it beneficial?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like the who's who in saddle climbing. It's pretty amazing. And I couldn't believe how many sticks. I mean, I would have, they told me I had to pick one right now, I'd have been a bit confused.
A bit? Hey,
I'm kind of focused in on 2 different ones, but
I pushed the table away from the wall in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
There's more sticks under there.
Yeah, there's 2 more sets under there.
Yeah, I didn't. I says, oh, he doesn't even know he's got these or what?
Well, that's what everybody kept walking up, and they were looking at all that stuff, and they were going, oh my God, look at all the money on the table, like, and to your point. For the most part, there isn't anywhere that you could have went. And now this just was kind of specific to this event where we were at. Austin was there with all of his stuff and we had all of our stuff. But that's the point of these whole things, is for you to bring your stuff so that anybody can see your gear. And Tether's just putting it on and showcasing everything that they have.
Right.
But there's guys there that have been saddle hunting. I mean, that's the thing that I'm like continually impressed with every time, like I see Tim do a demo is, I mean, it's exactly, to some degree, like you and Ernie and John, you as well, for everybody, this saddle hunting thing is new, and a lot of things for me in the hunting world or the bow hunting world over the last 2 decades for me has been like, ooh, look at that, ooh, look at that, and you guys are like, yeah, they came out with those in this year, and then we changed it, and blah blah blah, So Tim is of that era where, he's been saddle hunting over a decade, and there wasn't all this gear, so they had to come up with this stuff on their own. And now, to see him with all of this streamlined gear, just like up and down. I mean, with a single stick, with a 5-step 8, or with a 3-step 8, or with
Nader Swader.
Yeah, like
Well, the first year I went with you guys down to the ATA show, I was kind of thinking it would have been a little bit more along the lines of that teach that we had Saturday, but that don't even come close. I mean, if you're into the saddles, this is something you need to go to.
No, yeah.
You're not going to learn it in 2 or 3 days down at ATA because nobody's going to get together and band all that stuff together and let you throw everything on trees and.
Well, just like Johnny was showing me that other stick with the cable aider on it,
Yeah.
I mean I think that's pretty cool, I mean,
Like my sticks, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, because I got the new Timber Ninja aluminums,
right.
but then Austin had the carbon fiber ones there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but that's he has to have all those sticks because that's his business. I mean, he's making 3D printed, gear for the saddle community and making clips and everything. So he had some really sweet, like slide on clips for those.
Yeah.
For the carbon fiber Timber Ninjas and, well, for all of them, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I said, you name it, and he had the stick there.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's what's cool. And I tried, when we first got there, I put all my stuff out there, and then I packed it all up once people started coming there, because I didn't want to take away from the tethered stuff or whatever. And then when most of the people got there, and Tim was given his, just introduction and kind of like how the day was going to go, and basically saying just that, like, hey, there is no structure. Like, you see something, grab it, hop on. I'm going to do some demos over here. I've got all my stuff. But then he said, Adam's got all this stuff. If you want to check out, if you got questions about anything else, if you brought your own stuff.
I seen guys walking up in their own saddles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one guy had that Eberhard signature saddle. I wish I wanted to talk to him about that, because it was all kitted out, like with everything, and, and talking to John and John Eberhard, and, he was saying that the way that he sets them up makes it a little bit more streamlined. Like, I played with it there, but it ultimately ends up for me like being 2 panels is, if there's nothing connecting them, that to me is like they get flipped around and twisted, and
Right.
You can keep it, but I mean, there's people that absolutely love them, and there's no denying that it balls up to nothing. But anyways, back to what I was saying was that I was very much trying not to just be like, look at all the saddles and look at all the stuff,
Right.
but I think it's really awesome, and Tim's like, check out all that stuff, and that's the point, is to get to check it all out. And Tethered's goal at the beginning of what they said with their website and everything is they wanted to be a one-stop shop for everything. If you wanted to just, instead of having to go to Amazon here and then this and then try and figure it out, and so they've got everything, and you can check out all their stuff. So, I mean,
And then they had, at the end, they gave away a bunch of shirts. I mean, all kinds of stuff. They ended up giving away a saddle, platform, and like I said, we supplied the food, and it was a great turnout.
It was.
Great day.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I just want to kind of get like your idea from it, John, because you had never been to one. And so, like it being a little haphazard, I guess, because there's no schedule. And then, for senior division of Bowhunter Chronicles. You know,
I think it was just, it's like, I think that works out perfect like that. Then the guys can all kind of mingle, and like I just seen like groups here and groups there, and then they're all checking out the gear on the tables, and then Tim had like 5 or 6 different platforms set up, and then all the demo saddles that were on the table.
So how many platforms do they have? Like how many platform setups?
Tethered has 2.
Tethered has 2.
They have,
but I mean, how many are on the market right now, though? I mean, like in, say,
well, that are like you can buy and available. There's maybe 5.
There's 5.
There's the Out on a Limb. Well, Out on a Limb has a bunch of different variations.
Right.
Basically, they have the Podium, the Ridge Runner, and then they've got the Scout Solo straight and angled, and then they've got their ones that go on sticks. But now you're getting into this one sticking where they've got these kind of like platforms built onto sticks themselves that they climb up with. And if you were me, you would hunt off of it. I don't know what the guys are doing, but I think the way that it's built, that's kind of like how you.
But actual
do
platforms like I use, they're Tethered has the Predator, then they have the Predator XL. Trophy Line has their what's it called?
The Mission.
Mission. They just have the one right now.
Yeah, the EDP is going to be out here very soon, and then the Wingman. But the one like that you could buy and try. If you're talking strap on the tree, there is that Scout Solo, that's no bigger than like your phone, really.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing to it.
That ain't working for me.
That was a little angled one, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
Lone Wolf's got one too.
well,
right?
like there's some oddball ones that we haven't really messed with. Like Tree Hopper makes one, but it looks kind of crude. I mean, there's guys that like them, but it just looks kind of like some welded angle type stuff.
Well, there's another one out there that we'll mention, but
Hawk makes one.
yeah, disclaimer: don't fucking buy it because it's junk.
Yeah, well, we had one of those there, and I had a Hawk saddle there, just for people to
Right.
see, and compare it like side by side versus, what I would call safe saddles and then the Hawk saddle.
Well, that's just it. I mean, you can't go somewhere and buy that and do that. You can't do what was done Saturday.
No.
Going to a place or even an ATA show.
Yeah.
You can get in them. Well, we got in them at Tethered booth at one time, but
The ATA though is more of that's not a consumer. That's
Right.
that's a new product.
Yeah, well, that's a dealer
Well, it's
show.
dealer show.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a hard sell to the dealers, really, because I mean they went through it before. I mean, Trophy Line went through it for years,
Mhm.
and that's when we talked to her, she was like, I went all around the country and trying to sell it, and that was the big deal. Like, guys can go into a store and look at a tree stand and be like, yep, I can sit in that, but you have this little bag of a saddle. It's like, well, what do I do with that? Forget that. I'm going to get in that tree stand there. But then, like when we did the Novi show last year, I mean, and that was just a sportsman show. It wasn't like a hunting show. That was boats and everything. We had people walking by. I know we said this a bunch of times already. We had people walking by and they're like, what is that? And then we sold a shit ton of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big percentage of the people out there, the hunters, that don't.
They still have no clue.
They haven't got a clue.
But so for the people that are listening, that I mean, how many teaching trains are they doing this year? I know they did 2 at the same. The day we did ours, there was another one that Tethered put on somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, so I would imagine that there's probably 20 or 30.
I think Eric said that the next one that was closest to him in New York was actually one in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's another one in Michigan. I think it's June 26th, going to be up at Jay's and Claire, and John Eberhardt's going to be there. I think Ernie's going to be there with the big tethered trailer and all that. I don't know if he's listening, but Andrew Blair, I think, will probably be there. He's one of the customer service guys, and he's all over social media and does a great job for tethered guys. We're saying like, where's Blair at? Well, this is a Michigan deal, but I think he was on spring break. And I think Andy May's going to be up there. So, I mean, you want to again like getting
Maybe
an
we should
opportunity.
make a road trip.
Yeah, clearing that far.
But get an opportunity to hang out with and talk to these guys, because like all the guys that we just mentioned, I think maybe not Andrew, you've spent time with in the booth at Novi, and it's like, it's not like they're like gonna big time you and be like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna just say like, hey, be like yeah, like show them your phone, like, hey, where would you set up?
Right. No, they're all very approachable people.
Yeah, but I mean, again, like I think in 2 weeks, Adrian's doing one in Tennessee. I know Walt's hosting one in Tallahassee. So it's just a great. I mean, how many people do you know that saddle hunt? I mean, maybe we know more people, I guess, but even around town, like if you had to find somebody else around here, that you could, network with or talk about this,
I know one guy.
Have an intelligent conversation.
One guy that besides all the people in this, in our circle, and he still has the old trophy line.
Yeah, he was at the event, I think, because I talked to somebody, and he's like, yeah, I know. He's like, I know John. Like, where is he? I didn't see him. And he said, yeah. I was like, oh, so what do you hunt out of? And he goes, the old trophy line.
Oh, was it Chad? Did he say?
I don't know. He's a little guy with shaved head, dark hair. Yeah, I'd imagine. Maybe you know two guys.
Well, I was saying because I told him about it, and he said he was going to be there. And I'm like, and then I didn't see him. So
you were kind of busy sometime, through there too.
Yeah,
but another reason, which I think is a pretty good segue here, is the masses have been saying like, we need more Uncle Frank. We need more Uncle Frank. And we got.
They got a little bit of
they
that.
They got quite a bit of Uncle Frank the other day, and
so if you stuck around till the end, which there was one guy that hung out that I'd never seen him before. I didn't even. I think I was
young guy.
Yeah, he was from Ann Arbor.
Ann Arbor.
Yeah. And
well, hell, I thought he was with those dudes traveling back to New York.
No, he hung out right straight to the end, and I mean. It was kind of hard to leave there at the end because you were getting a full dose of Tales of the Garbage Man.
Yeah, but even more than that.
We got into some reminiscing.
Yeah,
the Conservation Officer Chronicles.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my old man there.
I probably should have pulled the phone out and captured that.
Well, and that's the thing. So we'll try and we'll get Frank thinking here about what he can offer up. But for you guys, like, so we are just talking. I was out shooting today the longbow out of the blind, and it's kind of cumbersome, but I was hitting what I was aiming at from.
So
10,
how is it as
yards.
far as your heights and everything in there?
The height is fine.
Good clearance.
My issue is, like, I have to turn my knees way over because the bow is so huge. Like,
if you're sitting on a stool or something like that, okay.
Yeah. And I was shooting off my knees too, and I almost shot better from my knees than I did off the stool. But when I did that, like, the bottom limb was like hitting the blind or hitting the dirt. Like, I don't know who we were talking to somebody who like missed a deer or wounded one or something, and they said that their limbs hit.
Oh, he blew his bow up.
Yeah. Because the limbs hit the blind, he thinks.
Yeah, they hit the window.
Something like that. But that's what
I wasn't sure. I mean, I heard the story. I seen the bow, and it was definitely some odd damage to the cams.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure if it was like a cabin window or
camper. The camper window.
A box blind, or, what it was. But
no. Anyways, that's one of the things when I was shooting that bow, like a couple times, like the limbs hit the blind. And so I was like, I don't know if I really, but that's what's hard with full length arrows and a giant bow. Like I mean, now I see why when you're in the blind, like you have to be all the way, you are all the way in the back in the corner, because like normally I've got a little bit of room to, but yeah, so I was shooting that, and I've been trying to figure out like where I'm going to head this like Thursday, Friday after work to try and like roost some birds, have some sort of idea. Have you been out at all up to where you were last year?
I've not been out.
Yeah. I don't know if you caught our story on Instagram, but John has been doing some construction work and cut his thumb up pretty good. Had to have my brother stitch him up on the kitchen table.
Yeah. Saul's all accident.
And how's that affected your shooting?
I haven't shot since.
No?
I haven't shot all week. Just because, I mean, I think it'd be fine. Maybe I'll get rid of that little bit of torque.
Yeah, that'll probably, you know. Every time you draw the bow back, ooh.
It was just 3 stitches. I mean, I probably really didn't need them.
Maybe those all should be the memory parts, you know what I mean? Do that there, you know, so you don't torque, you know. Got a little pain there, you know, and then another place, you know, you got to let me whack you somewhere else, you know. Ooh.
What do you do for the yips?
Well, you got to get hit harder, that's all.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that.
Don't do that. Little like a kind of like a big rat trap alongside your head with a 2x4 on it, you know.
Monkey in a backpack.
You know?
Oh, man.
Shit's going off the rails already.
Real
What the hell?
quick.
It's heading out.
What's the, those Magnus bullheads, how much do they weigh?
They're 125 grains.
Okay. So that's what I've been shooting for heads anyway, so should be good. Man, they must, no wonder they blew apart when you, when you're shooting the pillow, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, even with my bow turned down, I think I had the Hoyt target bow last year. I had it turned down to like 56 or 54 pounds. And it's still, I mean, I had the pillow hanging from the strap so it would swing. And then I had like.
What's the one that Wells shoots? Tim Wells.
He was coming out with, I think, his own at one point.
Was it his own head?
And so
Well, it may have been those gobbler guillotines.
Whatever they were, man.
because
I'm
they
telling
had
you,
like they were like almost like a trussed blade, like a 2-part. And I think he was supposed to be coming out with his own for a while.
Sure worked, though. I'll tell you that. I mean,
I think mine would have worked too if I was. I mean, when you look at my shot, I was off. I missed to the left a little bit.
Well, that's what I'm
and two,
most concerned about is like the way that I'm shooting. I mean, it's not bad, but it's like I keep thinking about like, you know, circle about you know, size of a softball around this turkey's head. But I've been hitting what I'm aiming at, like, you know, quite often. And I'm just thinking about like squaring them up, and that's what's kind of do what you did to that turkey, where it just kind of blew him right off his feet.
You just have to concentrate on the head, though. I mean, that's your ball.
No. I'm talking about even squaring up his head.
Yeah.
Like with the center of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to, I mean, it's not going to go through him like a giant pointed
I wouldn't
broadhead.
worry about if you hit him and you'll break his neck. I mean, there's enough weight, especially with that arrow and that big old blunt head, you'll break their neck.
I mean, that bird you killed last year, I think part of the thing, he was strutting, facing you, you know, so his neck was down, like, you know,
yeah,
bent,
like he was,
you know,
that, and it was kind of against his body.
Yeah.
And so.
Like a big shock absorber when it hit it, you know.
And I was off a little bit to the left. But.
And we have that video up on YouTube, and if I did the slow motion at the end, but if you slow that down, like frame by frame, like when that arrow hits that bird, it turns into like an S.
Oh, yeah.
And then it goes flying.
I was afraid to shoot that arrow after that. I was like, holy crap, is that thing still?
Well, what's really blows your mind, though, is how that turkey flips and knocks the decoy over, you know, and stuff. It's just like you don't, you know, it's just split seconds that it's happening, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, when you look at it from the backside, when that arrow hits him, it literally drives him back. Like, It just
like when Adam shot that one and pinned it to the decoy, you know. I mean, that was really cool, you know. But it was only like one frame, you know.
Well, I that's just such an unfortunate thing because that was so cool. Like the experience of that bird coming in like it did. Like now, granted, your birds were super cool too, but
those were quiet though too.
But you guys got to see them.
Oh yeah,
because they jumped right over your seats
over the log.
But
all three of them jumped on the log about 10 feet to my right. Thud, thud, thud.
But I mean, that one came like straight to us like the sun. I mean, everything's beautiful. I shoot him. He flies up over the blind, and then the way that was videoed.
I go, what the hell is he doing?
That's the first we seen it when he was over the top of the line.
We hear ka-wah like that, remember? And then like that, you know, and they turn each other. All of a sudden, here comes Adam out of the tent, you know. He's doing the 100-yard dash across the field, you know. What the hell? Me and Ernie's sitting back there. Ernie's filming me calling, you know. I'm over there like, yeah, check this call out, Ernie. You know, here's a little bit of this purr, you know. We didn't have a clue, did we?
Well, that one back in the woods was
there
still
was
gobbling.
one goblin over there, and then we'd had one back to the north of us gobbling.
We had no clue. It
like I said, it was just super unfortunate.
I jumped
that
a
was
couple inches
so
when
cool.
he did that.
It was just so cool. But
well, each and every one is you know,
different.
Like I told you, where I killed that one in that field that time, you know, I called that bird out of that same field for you with your bow. The one you missed up there by Walhalla.
They're starting to all blur together. Well, that's like Chris was talking about up there where I shot the one when we were first filming and I shot right over top of those jakes. Remember they came in behind the tree and then they went away and then you called them back in and then I got that frame of John, like the lighted knock whizzing by John's face. His eyes are.
Damn, you got to warn the camera guy. You're going to just let one fly.
But anyways, Chris is like, yeah, when you miss that Jake, and I'm like, which one? Like, what are you talking about?
You got to narrow that down a little bit.
Kind of narrow that down. Oh yeah, them, I forgot all about those.
But what John was talking about earlier, and one of the things I was going to ask him, you were asking me about building those flu arrows, like how I wanted them, like what. Right. What goes into building like one of those arrows and how do you fletch them? I mean, because if when John's like, we'll order up some flu feathers and I've got some 250 spine.
Wait a minute, before you go any farther, what kind of bird is that off of? A flu? I've never seen a flu before. Are they big?
I Googled it. They're orange.
I ain't seen one.
I think it came from the movie Up.
Oh, yeah.
But like what goes into building one? Because these fletchings are like we were talking about that platform. They're as big as that platform. I mean,
they're a full length, like 10-inch or 10-inch. And some people do like a spiral wrap. So basically, they just wrap it around the shaft in the spiral.
Seen that before.
Oh, I'm definitely not. We're not doing that because what happens with the spiral wrap slows it down even faster.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's for like when you're shooting at like aerial birds or clay pigeons that people are throwing up, and you want it to die off quicker and not go like 100 yards.
Aspirins and stuff like that.
If you want to freak your neighbor out,
yeah,
send one at him, let it die out.
So we're just doing the regular right helical. And that's when I was asking how long you want them. Do you want them like 5-inch, 6-inch? Do you want 3 fletch, 4 fletch, 6 fletch? But I know so there's a video of Josh Bomar, and he shoots a turkey, and this is like really cool. I wish I would have saved my wings now, because I would maybe after this year.
I'll get you a wing feather anyway.
Yeah, you can get your wing feathers. That's no big deal.
Yeah, we probably got some left over in the tent bag.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Josh shoots some turkey, and then he takes some of the wings and the wing feathers, cuts them off, plucks them out. Then he slices them down the middle, splits the wing or the feather, and then puts it on a belt sander, or actually cuts them down to like the size he wants. Then he puts them in in a straight clamp, and then he's got like a bench belt sander, and he puts them on there and he sands them up and gets them all looking like the ones that you bought, basically. And then he takes them, but I can't remember if he even says what his length is, but it's probably 5 inches. But then he takes, and he's got like a little mini paper cutter, like you can get from Walmart or Office Max, and he likes to keep his at like 1 inch high. So he just puts them in there and chops them all at 1 inch, and then he does a 6 fletch, and he shoots them out of his like trad bow and his compound bow.
But he leaves the feather more standard then. I mean, as far as the feather itself, he does. Some of the flus I've saw, they're like they roughed them up or something.
Oh, no, this is
just a lot of the spiral ones look like that because
I suppose. Yeah, but they used to sell like flus
that are real fluffy looking.
Yeah, they were fluffy like kind of spread out like.
Yeah,
like
they'd be a couple inches.
So he's just leaving his standard though, right?
Yeah, they're like a perfect barred looking turkey feather, wing feather, super cool looking.
And how many does he put on there?
6.
6 of them on there.
So
well, I gave you 4 arrows, and I gave you those other fletchings that I gave you
So
were 5 inch, so 5 arrows. I don't know. 4 arrows. I don't know. Might be.
Okay.
Well, he's only got 3 of those broad.
It's only a 1 week season.
Yeah,
So,
it doesn't mean nothing. They had them.
so we got 2 good broadheads because I never sent them back into Magnus.
yeah. So I mean, my plan is just to have one of those dirt nap shred heads, like ready to rock, and that's kind of what I was thinking with those 5-inch fletches, those chartreuse ones I brought.
I didn't see those.
They're in the bag.
Okay,
with them.
I didn't look.
Yeah, because I didn't really think that they'd need like extra stabilization. Like
No, those won't.
yeah,
So you're thinking what? 3 flu?
whatever. I mean,
No, 3 flu arrows, and
yeah, that's fine.
2 regular.
Well,
You said there's
4.
5.
I gave you
4.
4.
4.
So
Okay.
2 and 2, or
2 and
3
2.
and 1. Whatever.
2 and 2.
Well, you've only got 2 of those big broadheads anyway. So
Right, but I have 3, but 1 is of practice. You can use that for no.
Do you have
it's
like a
got some
55-gallon drum or a 5-gallon bucket with some foam in it for a quiver for them sons of bitches? Because I mean, what did you do? Just carry that with you with a?
I have the little inserts that go into a quiver.
Mm-hmm.
They insert into your normal broadhead, and it's got like a little point, and then it splits way out to it, and so it covers the 3 blades.
Oh, okay. So I'm like, what the it's carrying it along.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Now you just put them in your pocket.
Oh boy.
Throw them in with your tent. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
So then, are you going to be there like with your compound, like as a backup shooter?
I don't even know if I have a compound right now.
I have a couple.
No, actually. So what I'm thinking is I might just get that 160 4-inch out. I've had that for 3-4 years now. I want to kill a turkey with that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll shoot him in the head with it.
Whatever.
160 grain 4-inch expandable.
Yeah, that when I took the picture of it, looked like it could take off your index finger because
It's big.
But it's close, like where those hooks are.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I'll shoot it with a full-length arrow.
Yeah.
Right.
But, yeah, so like I'm saying, I'm just trying to figure out, like, because you guys have a much freer schedule than I do. So, like, and you've all killed turkeys with your bows. And you might not have had as many opportunities as I have, but he killed one.
Oh, that's right.
It was just a mutant mercy kill.
Part turkey, part duck. I don't know what it was.
Goose.
It was a turducken.
Turducken.
But in true Uncle Frank fashion, that's nothing else that we would expect. What is your guys' playing? Is Frank the first shooter?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're up on all the camera skills and.
Oh yeah.
I got him.
You do remember the turkey you missed that I filmed the bark on the tree?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm only a little bit better than that right now.
I mean, I was hoping.
Come on,
that
you had all
improve.
hunting season. You tagged out like
Who were the dudes that said, "Is Haggard going to be out there again this year?" Who was that?
Was that at the teaching training?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Haggard's got to go again. They said,
I think
And you agreed.
Yeah, I said I'll do it. I don't care.
I'll never forget that when I showed my grandkids
was it Chris?
that film, and the
It's
9-year-old
possible.
says, "Oh, that's Haggard." I go, "Who?" I didn't even dawn on me. That was amazing.
Then
I think it was Chris and his brother were talking about it.
Could have been. Then Adam puts it to music when I'm out there.
That's pretty good.
The Haggard
So what do
dance.
they call that? Is it what is there a word for that little video there?
Dancing.
The dancing deal?
No, I put it on TikTok. We have like 2 videos on TikTok, and one of them's Uncle Frank dancing, and then Ernie going, "Bitch." So, I mean, you guys can check that out if you want to. And I was talking with, I sent it to Byron Horton because he does like all the great video, and he does like these crazy edits and all this stuff. And I sent it to him because I was like really proud of my editing to the music, And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." And he goes, "It's even better because I know how long that took to do to like cut it up and make it to the music and everything." It's like, oh my God, I probably spent like 2 hours doing like that 30-second clip,
Right.
but just for a few laughs.
I did too. It was cool.
But yeah, so you guys will have the whole week to hunt.
That's getting close.
This weekend.
I know. I just realized it today while I was
Wait,
cutting
what?
grass and fertilizing. That's Saturday.
It starts Saturday?
17th.
Yeah, 17th.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh, he's worse than I am. Tomorrow I get the bow ready. I got to shoot the smaller arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah, get that set back up. I don't want to use those deer killers. You know what? That ain't a bad idea. Go shoot one of those heads to a turkey. I'll never find my arrow.
Well, you shot through them last year with
That was a
Rage Chisel Point.
Rage Chisel Point, but the fletchings, the arrow stayed in the deer. The fletchings were on the far side. Still,
in the turkey.
the turkey.
but it wasn't a heavy arrow. You
No,
hadn't built them arrows yet.
No, it was just
No. But the way they shot through the deer,
Mhm.
I don't know if I'll probably lose that arrow if I shoot a turkey with it. The expandable worked well because it really slowed down hitting all the turkey bones. And
Yeah, and it
cut his heart
cut
off.
his heart off.
Yeah.
And I think
Only
that's
turkey
really what
I've
slowed
ever
him down.
seen killed, and I've seen a lot of them, and that's the first one that never flopped. That turkey never flopped. He ran out, 15 yards?
Spread his wings out a little bit,
Yep.
ran out, and then,
Held his head up a second, and then he laid right down lifted his head up once. Boom. That was it. Done. I couldn't believe
I
it.
forget what I asked you. And he goes, "Oh, no, it's done."
No, I think you said we got to give it a minute.
Yeah,
No.
I don't think so. Earl, that one's dead.
So we'll have Chris and Casey hunting
Right.
the
Last
last
season.
season.
Pretty much the month of May,
Yeah, and
periodically.
we will also have the first week of June.
Yeah, if you don't kill one
We'll film for those that did not.
the 17th there,
Maybe that
That
week
week.
works out better for you, John.
First week
Seems
of
you
June.
didn't know it was coming.
Yeah.
I'm going to be
Oh, you
shit.
got some stuff going on too, don't you?
I'm going to be working.
Well, too, we might have a few other guys we can film too, if we're successful early. I don't know about your brother.
Oh, Dustin?
Yeah.
Yeah, he what was it? Saturday And Sunday, he had turkeys right in front of his camera right there.
Yeah.
And my nephew's going to kill one with a gun, and he's going to kill one with he wants to kill one with a bow next year. But he said he sent me a picture this morning with one coyote, and then 5 minutes later, 3 coyotes coming through there. He goes, I hope that doesn't mess up my season.
It could.
And that's right where they've been roosting. That's where they roost last year too. So
I have an appointment on Saturday.
yeah, with some
You're
turkeys at about 5 a.m.
You're out then.
All right.
What time?
I'll have to look. I think it's at noon.
Oh, they'll be dead by then.
Be dead. We'll be tagged out. We'll be drunk.
Yeah.
We'll be so drunk by noon.
Well, you
If I
did
kill
wait
one-
till the afternoon to kill yours
I'll
last
be-
year. First day.
We'll be doing the haggard again.
So, I mean, that's plenty of time to kill a turkey and be back. Kill 2. We'll double up right off the roost.
What do you got going Sunday?
Sunday I'm free.
Oh.
Well, I get my COVID shot on Saturday.
Oh. So you'll be sick on Sunday.
First one?
I didn't get sick the first time.
The second one's worse.
Is it?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell.
You're older.
Thank you.
It hits the younger people.
Really?
Yeah.
It's the
kidding.
same. Ernie, when you, like the second one hits you, it's just like after a hard night out. You get the shits a little
I don't
bit
get
and
those
stuff.
problems anymore either. You just got to stay tuned up.
They said, you know what, best cure for a hangover is, don't you? Stay drunk all the time.
Oh, God. Oh, Lord.
That sounds like an Uncle
Sounds like
Frank
Mark.
shirt.
We'll have to think about that one.
Oh, man. All right, Frank, what do you got? We got any good turkey stories?
That we can tell on the air?
I'd have to sort through the archives. I'm not sure. Not nothing real, you know, that really stands out, you know, that I can tell.
That's always good.
So back to the turkey plan. What are you only hunting the weekends or what? Or do you have
Well, so my plan, you know, in a perfect world,
is tag out Saturday?
well, it didn't have to be Saturday or Sunday, only because like my time is limited, and I'll like every day I'm at work by 6:45, so I'll have to really coordinate my schedule. But I'm not opposed to hunting the evenings, but it's just going to be a matter of going somewhere where I'm confident that there's going to be birds going to roost.
Right.
Now, if we weren't in this zone, if we were where we normally hunt, like I would be a little bit more confident in that. But
I mean, because of Nuevo and
yeah,
okay,
and
because your favorite place, you mean?
yeah, but even so, but I just know where those birds are roosting there. I mean, they're always there. It doesn't matter if it's the last day of the season.
Now, what
they're still
about
there.
where Frank and I killed our birds last year? Have you been getting any info on that?
Well, my brother said that there's turkeys over there.
That's where Ernie shot is.
That's
Yeah.
where Ernie shot is. I'm talking.
He turned his camera cell service off.
Oh,
But so the last pictures that I have are in March, and there was turkeys there in March. So, and that's an easy spot to go and listen. I mean,
But there was several nice birds in there, I'm assuming.
well, we know right where they roost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We know.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
and
we
when
know.
Frank and I were bow
Unfortunately.
hunting in there, them turkeys were. I mean, they all flew down, and I don't know that we'd necessarily like from what I saw when we were deer hunting, and obviously we didn't have turkey decoys out. But I think if we were more on the side of like almost over where your turkey went and died, that would be almost a better place to be.
Well, that's where they roost.
Yeah.
Well, they up on that hill.
Right up in,
Right up on the
up
hill.
the
Oh,
Right
side.
because
at the edge of it.
you guys went in there and seen them in the tree.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
there they are, right there.
Yeah, they're right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're coming back to that spot.
Yeah, and so like I said, in the evenings that would be no big deal, other than not booting them out of there on your way in. But yeah, and I got the okay to hunt there. It's just I just got to go set up the tent. So that's what I'm going to do at some point this week.
Can we hunt them out of a saddle in the spring?
You can hunt out of a tree stand.
You can hunt turkeys from a tree.
Just can't hunt a turkey in a tree.
Well, you can hunt a turkey in a tree. You just can't hunt a turkey in a tree. So yeah,
it's not ethical to.
But honestly, I thought about that
Roost bust them.
Right.
as a like a run and gun style, just for like the same thing we were talking about for you for just hunting from the ground, is to just go and set up and have a nice comfortable seat,
right?
Right there on the ground,
right, and have the tree in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a perfect scenario for a bow and
Well, what's neat about
as long as there's not a whole flock
that,
of birds.
I told you about the time I used to hunt on that little dinky stand all day, and I'd always hunt behind the tree. Well, with the saddle, it's even better because you can move and stay behind the tree if you're cautious on how you're moving around.
Mm-hmm.
The movement up there is
that's like
stupid.
That's John Eberhard's tactic. That's why he likes the ring of steps, because he can stay close to the tree and behind the tree to the deer the whole time.
Right.
I love that. And for filming, it's got to be easier.
How many of them deer look at
Adam?
us?
Yeah,
To get in position to film.
I'm
Like
not an expert, but I mean it.
compared to me, you are.
Well, I'm just not into the bark, but
I'm over the bar.
but it just is kind of like it isn't. It's not too bad. Like once you figure out what height to have the arm at, I mean, it's just got to be kind of like at upper thigh height, so you can put your knees on the tree below it, and then you can move around. It's kind of like it's got to fall like right in this midsection that you.
Right.
And I think
the void.
The thing that you guys are getting to, as far as hiding behind the tree and stuff, that's how we used to always do it, even with our other stands, But it seems like I've gone now to with the big summit, the Goliath. I like just sitting there like I'm in an armchair, you know what I mean? And I think I'm getting picked out more, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Those deer just come through there and pick you out, you know?
Yeah, you're like, look at that big old blob.
Wow, what's that, dude?
What's that mammoth growth on that tree?
Yeah. Hagrid.
It's Hagrid.
The biggest buck last year, remember? And he come in there and he looked at me, but then it was
and
like,
you were in
yeah, I had good cover too, I tried shooting through it,
but
too.
he kind of peeked at me first, but then all of a sudden he snapped his head back over by you.
Yeah.
And you were going, yeah.
I wasn't doing the IIA so much. It was like
if he wouldn't have killed that one limb, he'd have probably killed the deer.
I said, I know I can shoot through the white pine, needles, and not the branch, though.
That was like 6 feet from him.
Yeah, I didn't even see it, son of a bitch, either when I shot. I couldn't believe the arrow went in front. I seen the knock go in front of him, the lighted knock, and I went,
so did I.
No way, and then he just took off, and I'm going, like, I about puked, And I sit there, kept looking like where I shot, and this thing is hanging down under there. It was just like hanging down. Dude, I shot it right off.
I'll tell you what, though, like, I was cleaning off the cards from the cameras, and John's hunt, like when he was in the UP, he was talking about, I seen these bucks and all this stuff. Like, I didn't even, apparently it wasn't even like the biggest buck, but there was one buck on there that was freaking super nice, like chocolate horns, no brow tines, like bit. I mean,
yeah, there was a bigger buck than that came in on the third day.
I think it's because you just talk just like that, like so like low and monotone. You're like not excited about like the others. There's a bigger buck. Like I'm going through and I'm like, oh, there's a deer, and then I'm like, whoa, and it's just in the little screen, So I'm blowing it up and zooming in. I'm like, holy shit, man.
Yeah, that's the one that walked right in behind me, and I was set up. And I was like facing. It'd been the southeast, and I was on that rub line and scrape line. Well, he ended up coming just to the north, and the wind was going like coming straight out of the south, and so I think he just got enough. And that was the one that was on the neighbor's. He was technically, I was 10 yards from the fence line, and he was still on the other side of the fence. So
now
It's kind of like a gray area, though, right?
Well, so I didn't know, but they have an agreement.
Yeah.
Those guys up there have an agreement. Like if you see something that's on, within a shooting distance, then fine. Because, when that happens to us, then we're going to do the same thing. They have a gentleman's agreement.
Right.
So, now, if you're shooting across the corn and with the rifle, 300 yards, that might,
change things.
Now, this is one of the things that I've often thought of, and is it because like the property lines are usually like some sort of hedgerow or fence line or like pinch point or whatever. Like it seems like more and more like travel corridors and stuff are always like right on the line. Like if you're on private in public or whatever, I mean, I can understand like whether it's going to ag or feed or something like that, but it's just like you always end up like right on like a property line or very near,
So
I'm not saying you, I'm just saying like it for guys in general.
And like, so what it is up there, this old ag field, and then it bordered the swamp. So they had put a fence down it, I imagine, to keep the cattle or whatever out of the freaking swamp and shit. Originally, they were grazing, now they have like, I think that they turned it up and they have corn and stuff in there. They don't have any cattle or whatever, but, but it's just the old fence line is still there. And then, where it was broke down in a couple spots, that's where I put my camera up. I mean, that was a really good runway coming, cutting out of that big old cedar swamp and going out into the neighbor's cornfield. And, but there was a freaking dandy rub line all along. It was kind of like a little transition, what it was, because it actually opened up a little bit right there. At one point, they had logged that section off, and then there was still a finger of the cedars that come up and kind of like paralleled the property line. So like this finger of cedars went out, like kind of curved out into the cornfield, and then paralleled. So it was like just a little, like a staging area, and right along that was all these. I mean, just tons of scrapes and just buck rubs everywhere. And this is just a little 40 acre parcel and no one's even set foot in there in the last 3 years since Larry's owned it. So.
Well, and I guess maybe I answered my own question there because it was only 40 and he had like feeders and shooting shacks and stuff, probably not right on the fence line. And he's like, John, you can go sit in my shooting shack at the feeder. And John's like, well, I don't want, that's not what I'm doing.
Yeah. So I went to that 40 that had there's an old shooting shack on it, but no one is even, I mean, I went over, it was pretty gnarly. I went in there, some bat shit and stuff. It was like, at one point when it was raining and pretty nasty, I was going to go sit in there just to get out of the weather, but I was afraid I might get rabies or something.
But back to the filming thing, like I said, when I was going through those videos, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, because like you had I don't know what I would say, like crash course in filming, or like, I mean, you had a whole week to just have fun and learn the ropes straight. I was just thinking about
But back to your question.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I was like, kind of lost
the train of thought. Back to your question though, and like you, a lot of the property boundaries between fields and stuff are tree lines. You know what I mean? And like down there in Ohio and stuff. I mean, that's them deer can come on anywhere.
Right.
But where you see them in, like on the farmlands and stuff, you see them out in the fields, but most of them are running those tree lines and stuff. And that's why I think, you're on, and when your buddy went down there to Missouri, he was hunting public land, but it was next to private, and he got confronted, remember, by several local people.
Well, but that's kind of like what I'm getting at is like, so you got that scenario where, you might have 2,000 acres of public, and then everybody wants to gravitate towards like the property line because that's where the sign is, because that's where they're going into the ag or anything. Or if you have these smaller properties, like whether it's if you've got 5 or 10 acres, like you can see both property lines from the center of it. So, but it just always seems like, even my cousin's husband, he hunts down in the middle of the state, like southern, central Michigan, whatever. And it's always like, but then they go over onto the neighbor's land. Or if you just got like whenever people are hunting like private, it's always like right on the property lines. Right. I just wondered like why that is.
Yeah. Well, for one, I think the property lines, like what Frank was saying, back when, say I owned 180 acres, right? Well, and I'm going to farm it. I'm going to clear all that 180 acres.
Right.
And so I'm going to follow that. I'm going to clear it all out. Well, then say the other neighbors aren't farming it. Maybe they're going to log it or do whatever. Well, then it leaves some forest, and then you got your ag fields. So now you're creating a transition. Right. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's kind of what,
and that's what it was like until you get to the spot where, this is swampy shit. So then they go around it. Then that's where you get the odd shaped fields and stuff.
Well, anything, like if you look down southern Michigan, or eastern Michigan, around the Detroit area and stuff, that's basically what, you're hunting next to somebody else's property.
Well, not only that, your fence lines too.
Right.
That's going to be the spot that can't get mowed, right? Or
right.
the trees are still there. So now you got another, how many times have you hunted the transition or the fields and stuff, and look at them the old fence rows, and that's got the grown up, and that's where the freaking deer are moving.
Right.
They're following that tree line, that fence line, because that's the only place that's got the cover for them.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, I just thought it was interesting, like because you're like, oh yeah, it was right on the neighbor's property, and it just seems. When we went down hunted, over the other side of the state. That's where it was, but it was kind of like that. The house is on the front, there's a big field, and then there's just like whatever woods is left around
right.
the edges, and then that stuff doesn't get mowed or cut down, so those are the only big enough trees you can climb and get in and find any cover in anyway. So
Ernie and I hunted, we had, 60 acres up there by Crystal Valley?
Mm-hmm.
And where I shot that 9-point, how far was that fence behind me? It was. You
could have shot it.
It was swamp, okay, but but I was sitting near it, and then when the neighbor came in there, he owned 10 over there, didn't he, or something?
Yeah, on the other side.
And it was just, over here was the other fence, you know what I mean? So it was, you were kind of,
right on the property line.
The property line.
It's like,
yeah, you're never far from it.
It's gonna post up on the property line, but yeah, as far as shooting a turkey, shooting a turkey from the saddle, I think it's legal, John.
Okay,
I believe it is.
I would say just
long as turkey's on the ground.
Yeah,
turkey's on the
ground.
Sneak in there,
can
be in the tree.
Get right up on the edge of that ridge, right at the base, and wait for him to come in the roost.
Yeah.
Well, I think, I'm trying to think in the last few years how many turkeys I've seen that haven't seen me, which I feel like I got seen a lot more by turkeys in a tree stand.
Yeah.
Because you're hanging out there. And I remember.
Well, we're going back to the same thing, It's.
Were you wearing your heck suit, though?
No.
It's a tree, compared to a square or, what I mean? A rectangle or whatever up there, I think
brightly colored fletchings.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I
variables.
remember Frank always putting his hat over his fletchings. He'd have his quiver hooked onto his stand, and then he'd put a hat or like a
hanky. Put my hanky over it.
Your favorite hanky?
Well, I lost that one.
I don't think it's lost. I bet you can go find it.
I don't know if I can get it back now.
Hopefully nobody said, "Hey, there's a hanky. I'll take that."
If they pick that one up, they're going to be unhappy as hell. I can tell you that.
It'll never be the same.
No.
Why in the world is there corn in this hanky?
So did you come up with a turkey hunt for us, Frank?
Not a turkey hunt. No, I don't have a turkey hunt.
All right. Well, I mean, they wanted more Uncle Frank, so we got to have an Uncle Frank story to close this one out.
I got one kind of in mind, and I don't know if it's appropriate or not.
Well, I think those are the ones that go over just.
You remember?
Was it going to harm any children?
Remember the one I told you about the guy that never smiled at work in the locker room?
I guess.
Can I tell that or not?
Yeah, it's a tale of the garbage man. It is.
Oh, it's a classic.
It's definitely not hunting related, but
it's not hunting related. But it's some of my stuff isn't. You know what I mean? Working. With a bunch of guys there at before I retired, and I was everybody in the locker room, in the morning cutting up and stuff, and this one dude, I'd known him for quite a few years too, and he was just, I don't know, Mr. Sourful, you know what I mean? Every time you looked at him, he was frowning, he never smiled.
Kind of like Eeyore.
Yeah, I mean, but he was always just, and I'm going like, the one day, man, I walk in there, and we're all, laughing and stuff, we're getting ready, we're changing our clothes, we're getting ready to go to work, and he's sitting on the end of the bench, man, and I mean, his lips were down, you know what I mean? He was frowning, I mean, he looked like somebody kicked him in the face, and I go, I just turned to him and I looked at him and I said his name and I said, "What in the goddamn hell," I says, "is wrong with you, dude?" I says, "Every time I look at you," I says, "it just, you're like frowning all the time. You're never happy, you know what I mean? And I just don't understand it, you know what I mean? Well, look at all these guys in here, you know what I mean? And, our job ain't that tough, and I says, "What in the fuck?" I says, "It could be your problem, I said, "Why are you looking like that?" And he goes, "My wife just left me this morning," he goes. And I said, "Well, that'll do it,
Have a good day.
Have a good day."
Open mouth, insert foot.
I couldn't believe it, man. I said, "Oh my God."
You picked it right there.
Did you get any calls on the radio over that one?
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
There was things, pamphlets and stuff drawn up and shit for that one.
Yeah. They had HR meetings after that.
Oh, yeah.
Way to go. That's the way to end it.
Wow.
well, if you're feeling down,
And you need,
I'll pick you up.
And you need to pick me up.
oh,
Maybe it was the best thing ever happened to him.
Yeah.
Have you talked to him lately?
Actually, I ran into the dude about, I don't know, a month ago in North Muskegon.
Was he smiling?
Was he smiling?
Yeah, actually he was.
See? There you go.
And then we go out in the parking lot and stuff, and we shook hands and stuff, he's going to retire soon. And he goes, he looks over, "Nice truck." Thanks.
do you say
My wife bought
it?
it. I should have said your wife bought it for me, but I didn't have the balls to do that.
All right, hang on a minute. Your wife will be right out.
Oh, my
Cash.
gosh.
Wow.
Well, real quick, just to close this one out, for things we've got coming up, what are you guys hunting this year?
Well, I put in for Montana for the big game combo. So if I get that, I'll have my elk tag and a deer tag, whitetail, mule deer, whatever.
You go on the same time frame,
Same
everything?
time frame. I'm not
3 weeks.
Nope. Just 2 weeks this year.
And
And my wife will actually be out there the second week. So
Okay, and you two?
Colorado again.
As long as there's no wildfires.
Yeah, it'll keep the wildfires down.
Same area, same time.
Same area, same time, but we changed up what we're going to be, how we're going to be staying and stuff like that. We're going to take a big, like a squad tent, and we're going to go back in on these.
We're going to cut way down on our wasted time.
Right. I mean, last year was, it was, for all of us, it was kind of a learning experience that hadn't been out there and hadn't hunted before, and those guys have, our buddies have been out there, been hunting out there for years, very successful too, I might add, and so by doing what we're going to do, I think is like Ernie said, we're going to have way more, productive time, on the mountains, and just learning, where the elk are and where they aren't. I mean, that's
well, we know a lot of timber now,
right?
We know a ton of
so
timber.
I have a question. So with Colorado,
Mhm.
when you were out there last time, it was archery and muzzleloader at the same time.
Muzzleloader came in after.
About
like 2 weeks.
No,
Yeah.
about a week.
Yeah, it was about
Because when you got
week
there,
to 10
it was
days.
on.
It was on. Yeah,
Yeah,
So when you got there, it was on.
yeah. When
No.
the first day that I hunted was muzzleloader.
muzzleloader.
So, but is that a separate tag, or can you hunt that?
No, it's
Se-
that's
separate tag.
Separate tag.
So you can't.
That's like a
You
draw.
can
I
hunt
think,
with
isn't
a
it?
lesser weapon, but you can't hunt with a
Okay.
Yeah.
because
So I'm
we would have to draw or put in an application for a gun hunt.
Okay.
A non-resident would have to apply.
But also the mule deer season right there, you can shoot a mule deer too.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Danny Jr. put in for an app for a mule deer permit.
Oh,
So,
yeah, we've seen a lot of mule deer.
yeah.
yeah.
You know,
I never
I
saw
seen
a
a-
mule deer buck while I was in the woods. We seen a lot of them driving around, but
Oh,
Yeah.
I seen a lot of mule deer.
First morning I sat out
Does.
there, I saw three mule deer and one of them pretty nice buck. Went after them does.
I don't know. What will we be there? 10 days? that what we're
Well,
talking,
Dan
roughly?
Senior and I talked, and we could be there longer, depending on our success. Could be
Well, I
The-
think once
the month of September.
once the muzzleloaders come in there, I think that really made a huge difference.
Well, and because I think because of the fires and everything,
Here's a tip: if you're in there during muzzleloader, don't wear your tan gear.
No, it's,
Good point.
But what's really weird, is hard to say. We didn't see that many guys actually in the woods, did we? They were either riding a 4-wheeler.
They were all over on the other side, but we went the second half.
Yeah.
There
So
was a
what's
lot
your
of
plan, Ed?
So I'm going on my dad and some of his friends from the other side of the state. They go to a outfitter out there, and they've hunted like the big hunt from the lodge. My dad's been out there twice, rifle hunting, and he's hunted like all of 45 minutes. I think it's like a 2-hour horse ride. And then opening morning, he sees an elk, legal bull, and shoots it like a couple 100 yards. So they go like every other year, and I think my dad's like on the every other year phase. Well, I think this was their off year, and the outfitter called them and said, "Hey, we've got an opening for a spike camp." So I think it would be cool to go and hunt with my dad and go. I'm gonna bring my bow. I messaged the outfitter about it, and I haven't heard back. But that like everything through them is like a year in advance. So it was like right as it was getting into. It was like I think it was like right when I got home from Colorado that they were like, "Hey, do you want to go on this hunt?" So we're gonna go do that. It's not my normal style of hunting, but
So
it'll be
you
cool.
you can use your bow.
I'm bringing it. I'll just tell him I'm a felon.
So he's going. So you're going the opposite way, but that's cool that you're going with your dad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Because if I could do that, I would.
yeah, and that's kind of like what
Yeah.
I think, and I'm like, and I'm also like trying to like digest it as instead of trying to be like, well, outfitter, blah blah blah, it sucks. I'm trying to like embrace it and say like it's a really good opportunity to kill an elk.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
with your dad.
well, I've not killed an elk without my dad, so I mean, maybe he's what I need to. He's
Right.
killed more elk than anybody in this room.
Right.
I mean, so that's just like I'm trying to like wrap my head around like getting over.
There's a couple there. It'd be
Getting
like
out of my own way.
Going out there with an outfitter that set up a spike camp for you with a rifle.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like
Is
I
this
said,
Bowhunter Chronicles podcast?
but it isn't a like a podcast thing, you know.
No, I know.
But like I said, I'm like really trying to get out of my own way on this, and but yeah, so I'm just basically
So
like,
that's what the whole reason why I ran around Montana for 3 weeks with a bow in my hand was for this Bowhunter Chronicles, so we could have some stories of me missing shit.
well,
No, I'm just.
Is this kind of a payback for earlier, John?
but really, like,
Do you guys hear this? The host.
but my thing is like there we haven't been to anywhere where they said, hey, there's going to be elk over here or like whatever. So my thought is if I can go and like find a wallow and just sit there, you know.
You at least gonna wear a saddle?
So that's one of the reasons why I've considered like why I want to have a set of the tethered one sticks, like to come full circle, because to be able to hunt elevated like on a wallow or something, and it's only 3 pounds to bring with you. I mean, that's seems like a kind of legit option for that. I mean,
Yeah, as long as there's some tree. Like, I brought my saddle gear and sticks, everything out, or my wild edge steps. I used my wild edge steps to climb up and get a judo point out of a tree after I missed or no, actually I killed that bird, but I did use my wild edge steps out there. But there wasn't like where we were at, the trees just weren't very conducive for climbing.
Oh,
Even, I mean, you could climb them, but there wouldn't have been a really good setup for a saddle or a stand or anything. It was just either there was too many limbs or there was no limbs.
yeah. I mean, where we were at the last time, there was a lot of aspens, and then it was like that dark timber was like kind of what you're talking about, like
Yeah.
like a lot of limbs. But I mean, it's one of those things where if weight isn't an issue, or like if it's, you know, I don't know.
Trust me, though, it did cross my mind sitting in the grizzly country because they don't climb trees. You know, like,
I took my stand out there. You know, I climbed. As a matter of fact, I hunted a couple times out of that stand. You know, I saw a mule deer. I didn't see any elk, but we actually set our spike camp up in right where the elk were moving. We finally figured that out. You know, so that kind of changed shit. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, you park your quad, you look down. Look at them old elk tracks.
well, I mean, when we put that stand up in there, when you know that location though,
Mhm.
I mean, you could still smell them, couldn't you?
Mhm.
I mean, you could smell that where that bull was bedding. You could see where he was bedding right there, you know, and stuff.
You guys bedded right there with him?
Well,
No, this was well after that we set spike camp up because it was just a very convenient location.
yeah, it was a really nice spot, you know.
You
And we
moved
didn't
the-
want to get too close to where your brother and his buddy were hunting too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we kind of put it here while we should have leaned towards the other way, you know. I think if we, you know, down in them Quakies, remember where it was when you left our place, you know, our camp, and you got down in the Quakies where those other two guys hunted down in there.
Mhm.
I think if we'd have set the camp up there, that'd have been beneficial to us because they ended up, remember, moving through there, you know.
They did.
So if we'd have set the camp up there, you know, the other spot would have been greater, you know, or better, you know.
We shouldn't have to really worry about it this year, though. We
No.
should be in a much better situation.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like I said, just for kind of like what we've got on the horizon. So it's not like there is no, at least right now, like out of state whitetail.
No.
I think it's all,
Not at this point.
No, they've got the bug.
I'm going to do the elk again and then hunt Michigan. You know, I can mess up enough in Michigan. Shit, I don't need to go out of state.
Yeah, you got some
And if I can get it
Some
better on
redemption.
film,
Yeah, instead of wood, just wood, you know.
Yeah. So, like I said, that's kind of all I wanted to accomplish for the evening. Getting something from Frank to appease the listeners. You know, it's always good to hear you know, putting down people on the worst day of their lives. But yeah, we'll close it out with that one. So thanks everybody for listening.
See ya.
See you
Later.
later.